do is, whether we know we have the virus or not, it doesn't matter. We should just keep our throat moist. What we do is we are flushing down the virus from the throat down into the stomach. It will burn with that hydrochloric acid. You're killing two birds with one stone, and you're getting a lot of vitamin C and antioxidants and electrolytes. And to also understand the reasoning behind why we want to really hydrate right now. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Whole Wellness Method video. I am Lida Sportel at the upcoming lidashealing.com and founder of the Whole Wellness Method, and this video is part of the video series that I'm doing on getting through the coronavirus crisis with you. And in this particular video, I want to offer you an interesting tip that we are seeing is actually quite helpful for a lot of people, and that is to keep your throat very moist, your throat and mouth moist. And I'm going to offer you a few different solutions on how to do that. And the reasoning behind this tip is that scientists are showing how, the virus, coronavirus in particular, is getting into the lungs. The concerning part about this virus is it making its way down to the lungs, and then it creates, the inflammation there, and that is what is, concerning for a lot of us. So in order to avoid it and to kind of keep it from going down into the lungs, one of the suggestions is to keep your throat very moist. That way, let's just say, you do get infected by the virus, and what it does is it starts by infecting the throat. So for the first few days, what the scientists are saying is that it's staying in the throat for the first few days before it actually goes down into the lungs. So we still have it sounds like we still have a few days where we can kind of use the right tools before this virus gets into the lungs, and then we have the more concerning problems with it. So once it is just in the throat, what we can do is, whether we know we have the virus or not, it doesn't matter. We should just keep our throat moist, because if, let's just say, we did have it and it has infected our throats, by keeping our throat moist, for example, by just drinking some water, which I'll talk about specific solutions in a minute, what we do is we are flushing down the virus from the throat down into the stomach. And once it hits the stomach, we have a very acidic environment in the stomach. The hydrochloric acid is an acid that will actually kill the virus. And so that's the safe way for the virus to go for us, is if it goes into our digestive system from the throat down into the digestive system, because once it gets into the stomach, it will burn with that hydrochloric acid. So it's very important that it goes down that way and it doesn't go down to the lungs. So the whole philosophy, if you will, behind the whole keeping your throat moist is regarding making sure that it doesn't stay in your throat, and that it actually goes and you flush it down into your digestive system. Now, we will talk about throat sprays in another video, because throat sprays are definitely one way to actually try to kind of inactivate that virus in the throat. But that's another video. For this video, I want to talk about the whole concept of keeping your throat moist. So it might sound pretty obvious what that means, right? It does mean to drink water, but it is important that you drink clean water. So I will provide you with some resources to get, if you can't find water at the store, that you do make an investment into buying a water filter that you can keep for forever, and once this whole pandemic is over, you will have a nice filter to filter your water. And it is important to have clean water, because we don't want to be drinking tap water, especially in the cities that the water is not clean and that has pesticides and all these heavy metals, and even bacteria and parasites and stuff like that have been found in certain cities in the water. So fluoride and chlorine, all these things and all these chemicals are actually suppressing our immune system. So we want to avoid dirty water at this point. And it's not like it's dirty, but it is having all these different things. And fluoride really suppresses our thyroid and other organs in our body that are needed for healthy immune system. So it is a time to be drinking clean water. And then what I do and what I suggest is that you add to that water some electrolytes. So I will provide you with a couple of products that I really like to add to your water, which will make it super tasty, number one. And number two, it will hydrate you. It will deeply, deeply hydrate you, because just water sometimes is not enough to get that hydration into the cells. So by doing that cellular hydration, it helps when we have those electrolytes. And one of these particular products that I will suggest has a really good amount of vitamin C in it. So you're killing two birds with one stone, and you're getting a lot of vitamin C and antioxidants and electrolytes. So that would be a great thing to do. And I would suggest that you sip on water every 15 minutes is what I'm hearing the experts say. They're saying, especially if you're outside and you're around, people, although we're not supposed to be, like if you're going to the store, or if you know you have to go do something and you are around other people, just make sure you're sipping on that water a lot more frequently. Other things you could be drinking is obviously herbal teas, organic coffee, which I'll give you some resources where to find that. Coffee that actually has no mold toxins, because mold is also another factor that is suppressing our immune system. And so right now we don't want to be drinking coffee that is suppressing our immune system. So that's a whole other discussion though. But other things you could be doing for your throat is to be gargling with apple cider vinegar, to be gargling with warm salt water, or to be gargling with a mouthwash that I like. It's the On Guard by doTERRA, the mouthwash, which I will link to that. And gargling with that should really just help, cleanse the throat from whatever is in there. And then, like I said, there are some throat sprays that I find are very helpful. So I will also provide links to those. And there's so many different solutions. Don't feel overwhelmed like you have to do everything I just said. If you could just do one of these things, that'd be great. Just one, So, but again, for some people, one of those tips seem more appealing, and then others don't feel so much. So I want to give you as many options as possible, and to also understand the reasoning behind why we want to really hydrate right now, why we really don't want to keep our mouth and our throat dry. Do not let your throat get dry. Actually, they say that it is one of the first symptoms of the coronavirus is when you start having that dry throat or that dry cough. So I would try to really make sure we don't get to that point where our throat feels dry, and that we try to really keep it moist with the suggestions that I just mentioned. So I hope you have found this helpful, and I will be back with more tips, leaving you in whole wellness. Bye-bye.